Lukaku's move to Chelsea is all but done and dusted. Bids accepted. He wants the move now. He's openly told this to Inter Milan, and it looks like it's going to complete. But what are the ramifications of this? What does this do for Arsenal's pursuit of Lautaro Martinez? Does this put an end to it? Or is there a possibility here that money talks? Remember, 48 hours ago, we were all told categorically that Inter Milan would not sell Lukaku for love nor money. That has dramatically changed with the right level of bid coming in. Equally, James Maddison, what's going on with that deal? A number of player plus cash offers have been made. The player is willing to join Arsenal, but of course, Leicester City have said cash only if you want this deal to be done. What do you think Arsenal are going to do? Harry Kane is set to miss the opening day of the season for Tottenham Hotspur. He's set to miss the opening day of the season, which is against Manchester City, I will add. But what do you believe is going to happen with this transfer saga? So, okay, be having Dean on here and Pete and everybody else, but what do you think is going to happen with that as an example? Of course, the Haaland situation as well. Where is he going to end up next summer? I want your views and I want your opinions on that. I need to change the header there. This is the Transfer Predictor Show. We're going to be delving into that and much, much more. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that share button. Here we go. Welcome back to the terrace. Got a nice little panel building up backstage right now. Have Hope is in the house. Man like Ram is here. How are we, gentlemen?
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, good. Good to hear. The transfer
First time with Have Hope. So I'm
brilliant.
excited.
Look at a little smile on his face. He looks like a kid at Christmas. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, we might be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Alex, the Tottenham fan tonight. I'm not too sure where he said he was going to be here. But tonight's a little bit different. Yes, it's looking at the transfer stories that are going on, but it's gauging the panelist opinions and, of course, the viewer opinions about some of the biggest transfer stories that are circulating right now. Your chance to really have your say, your chance to really tell us what you think and feel. We are going to share the link a little bit later in the show for you to phone in and have your say. We have a poll currently running. This is Harry Kane right or wrong to strike? Should have changed the answers to right or wrong. I've left them at yes or no. A little bit of laziness there, to be fair. But that's where we're going to start tonight. We're going to start off with this Harry Kane situation, a kind of standoff that he's having. I read a report earlier that he's now expected, due to missing this week of training, he will not be ready for the opening week of the Premier League. That game is Manchester City versus Tottenham. I don't want to put two and two together and get like 572 here, but there's almost a part of me that feels like I listened to what Dean said yesterday on the show that most people didn't expect him to return to the 8th anyway. Regardless, he said I actually went and checked it. He said it on a show 4 weeks ago on the terrace. He was expected the 8th, so he would miss this opening game of the season. Is there anything to be read into that, Have Hope, firstly? And the second question I want to pose to you both is Harry Kane right to strike to get his move away from Tottenham?
I mean, the second one is more complex. I think for the answer to the first one, I just think it's basically conspiracy theory merchants trying to say that, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, like there's nothing in there. Like, so it's nothing about, reading into it, does he want to miss City because he wants to go to a City? So no, the first one, no. The second one is tricky because here's the deal. Because this reminds me of Dimitri Payet. And it's like, I have a saying where nice guys finish last, Don't listen to what your parents said. No, don't be nice, or else you'll just be walked over. So what he's doing is wrong in a general moral sense. You're under contract, you should go. But if it's a question where, like, his brother Charlie Kane said, bro, do you want to move? You're 27, 28, do you want to move? Are you sure? You've got to do this. They will hate you, they'll vilify you. It is ethically wrong, but if this is what you want to do, sometimes stuff that you've got to do may be difficult to do and it'll have you hated. So if I was in that position and I desperately wanted to move, I'd do the same thing and I would accept all the abuse and insults. When Dimitri Payet went on strike, he was like, man, abuse me, insults me. I want to go back to France. I don't care how I will look. I don't care about the character assassination. I want to get my ass back to freaking France. So for Kane, it is wrong in a general sense, but this is football. You know, it's ugly. It's not nice. Van Dijk did it. Mahrez did it. It's like, if you just want to do, this is what you have to do. Because remember, Levy, you're dealing with one of the toughest. Harry Redknapp just came out and said that, bro, this Levy guy doesn't budge. He doesn't play nice. He doesn't budge for anyone. He will get the exact price. So if you desperately want to go, you've got to play tough with Levy. Because if you play nice, Levy will take advantage of you and just keep you ad infinitum.
I think that's a really good point there. From your point of view, Ram. Like, I'll give you an example here. Jamie Carragher has been quite scathing of Harry Kane's behavior, but I didn't see him do that to Virgil van Dijk when he did, for me, something very, very similar to get his move to Liverpool. Do you blame Harry Kane for doing this? Do you think it's unprofessional of Harry Kane, wrong towards Tottenham? Or what's your take on essentially going on strike?
Like, I'm going to echo what Havertz said. Ethically and morally is not right at all. This is the club that built you up, and maybe there's a sense of you should have respect for them, but this is a club that is stagnated and hasn't won a major trophy since 2008. And a player of Harry Kane's quality, he needs the big boy trophies. You saw it with the Euros. He helped England get to Euros final, but they didn't get over that line. This guy, if he wants to cement his legacy as one of the greatest strikers of all time, he needs trophies. And Manchester City is the club that will get him that. And like Havertz said, Daniel Levy is, excuse the language, but he's a bit of a dickhead when it comes to transfers. He won't budge. His heart is a stone, and to get those transfers, you need to be pushing and pushing and pushing. You saw with Eriksen. Eriksen said countless times, "I want to leave. I want to leave. I want to leave. I will not play at my 100% unless I leave." And he got sold for a cut price deal, and it turns out it worked out better for Tottenham because I think they did all right without him. But Harry Kane has to follow that same mold, and one thing that is for sure, people will buy him. It's Harry Kane. Let's be honest, one of the best strikers in the world. People will want him. Simple as that.
Sorry, and it's a good tip, because remember the All or Nothing documentary during the whole Eriksen. I remember when Levy said that, and he had a meeting with Eriksen. He actually said to Eriksen, "Look, I get and everything, but we can only sell you for the right price." So he told Eriksen that, yeah, of course, but look, Christian, we're not selling you for a correct price. I understand your situation and so forth, but I'm only going to sell you if the price is right. So you already have an insight as to how Levy operates, you know? So
yeah, it's very true. I think as well, though, also in that same documentary, and I'm wrong, correct me, there was also talks between Levy and Jose where they were like, you don't want to keep a player at a football club who wants to leave as well. And it becomes, and this is why I think there is a deal to be done, but of course at the right price, because they're not going to want to keep Harry Kane with his behavior being like this. There'll even be players in there that will, I'm not going to say turn on Harry Kane, but players often just want, there was a story that came out the Manchester United camp a number of, maybe a year ago now, about Paul Pogba, and it kind of stated particular, like, players want Paul Pogba gone, and it was hyperbolic and it was exaggerated. What they actually said is they love Paul Pogba, but they want the situation resolved. They didn't say they wanted him gone, because it always becomes a distraction for people. It does. We're going to talk about it more in a sec. I've got a few super chats to do here. Adrian here says, Matt Law on London is Blue podcast said, Team Haaland demand at least 400k a year next season, so whoever wants to sign him should take that into account. I think absolutely it was always going to cost more next year to sign Haaland in terms of personal deals and agent fees because the transfer fee was lower. That's what most people predicted. And listen, there's going to be a lot to come out about this Chelsea deal. I know that Fabrizio has said no official bid has gone in. With respect to Fabrizio, that doesn't mean anything. And what I mean by that is that most bids don't go in now until they're very close to being accepted or being accepted. So Chelsea definitely it said that they had loads of talks, but of course they made suggestions in those talks to what would be acceptable. Otherwise, what the hell are you bloody talking about? Like, it'd be a really short conversation. They didn't talk about the weather. So I think there's a lot more fallout to come from that. The first story we're talking about tonight, for anyone new that's tuning in, is Harry Kane to Man City. This super chat says, striking is unprofessional, but in this case, necessary as Levy won't budge. Harry already said he wants to leave. Spurs risk keeping an unhappy striker, is what Daniel believes. But we're joined now by Alex. First time he's been on throughout the course of the summer. Mate, give me your take, if you can, please, on the situation with Harry Kane, him going on strike, not turning up for pre-season training and trying to force a move away.
Firstly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. I don't really think this needs a really big explanation, to be honest with you, because I think you've heard from me before. I'm pretty much bored of this situation now. On the whole thing with him striking, it's wrong. All he needs to do is put a transfer request in. It's about him wanting trophies, yes, but he wants money. I mean, if for me, to put a transfer request in, we've got absolute respect for him if he has puts a transfer request in, and that's it. It's done. And if Tottenham reject it, who's the mug? Tottenham. But I think at the beginning of the summer they decided to keep Kane, and it's quite clear that they wanted to keep Kane because look at the mess that was caused with sacking Jose when we sacked him. We didn't know what we were doing, which I said before, and we were trying to get managers in to trying to keep the players that we wanted with Conte and all these other things as well. So, to be honest, we're going through a transitional period. It's going to be a difficult season for Tottenham, and Kane can see that. So it's just what it is at the moment. So that's just my thoughts on it. And to be honest with you, I think we shouldn't be concentrating too much.
But how do you feel, though, as a Spurs fan, seeing him do this? How do you feel? I know you're saying you're bored of the situation, but the viewers haven't heard your thoughts on it. What do you think of Harry Kane's behaviour?
I'm surprised that he's not turned up for training. I think that's wrong.
Surprised?
But for me personally, I think he would have. I thought this was on the cards that he was going to put a transfer request in at least, and I would have been happy. I would have respected him for doing that because that's me saying, you know what, I'm sick of this. And I think the whole thing with the manager, especially after Gattuso, which I was not happy with whatsoever, completely not happy about that because of reasons which are well documented. I think he's just thinking, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, and put a transfer request in. I would have absolutely respected him for doing that, but for not turning up for training, no, you're not. You're playing, doing the same thing like Berbatov, Bell, all the other people that have done what they've done. The whole thing about putting a transfer request in, you're not getting your bonus. You're doing it for the trophies. You're going to get paid by Manchester City good money anyway, so you don't need to worry about your money. Forget about his representatives. Sorry, you don't really care about that. But, for him, he needs to get trophies because it's not really fair for him to see people like Vardy, people that he's so much better than and not doing, not getting what he wants anymore. And he's not going to get any trophies at Tottenham because next season is a struggle for Tottenham next season. I don't want to go into it too much because I think it's too early to be honest with people at the moment. But, this is what that's what I'm surprised about because he should just put a transfer request in. That's for me would have been quite simple for me. That's my opinion.
Look, but he hasn't done the transfer request because he is going to lose money, and players don't want. I don't know what his bonus is going to be, £2, £3, £4 million. He doesn't want to give that up he sees this as the best way of moving forward. I'm really intrigued to find out what comes out about this, because he did say goodbye. This has been verified now by a number of very reputable sources. He said goodbye to staff members and his teammates at the end of last season because he believed the club were going to allow him to leave based on conversations. Now,
but see, that's the thing though, is that it's like how you can't, it's similar to the whole Messi situation. How do you rely on this whole gentleman's agreement? Because if you go into a court of law, the judge will say, all right, Harry Kane, you say you want to leave. And Harry will say, oh yeah, Levy, he promised me like in over dinner or so forth. Do you have any proof? Do you have a taping? And Levy will say, no, sorry, I think you misread me or you misheard me. But Levy can say, well, I do have this contract in black and white that says you are still contractually obliged to be here till 2024. So you can't, that's why we have contracts in life, because we can't just rely on shaking of hands and so forth. That's what they did back in the Wild West. Oh yeah, we shook hands and so forth. Oh, this is reality. Give me a freaking contract.
And I do get that, but that's also why I think there could be the frustration. I think this happens to players on a number of occasions. Paul Pogba and Man United 2 summers ago had a gentleman's agreement, but this didn't turn nasty. Why? Because Paul was told, if we get a bid over X amount, we will let you go. No bid over X amount happened. Now, if Man say it was an 80 million pound bid, I'm making it up now because no one knows the monetary sum, and Real Madrid had bid 85 million and we turned it down, I think there would have been a very different Paul Pogba, and rightfully so, because the club hasn't upheld a promise. Now, legally, he doesn't have a foot to stand on, but there are still times where you promise people things, and it's your job to deliver on them. When you get an opportunity to do things. We have the poll out. I've had the poll changed because to make it make a bit more sense, and then the word acceptable was expectable rather than acceptable. But there we go. The poll now reads: Harry Kane is pushing for a move. He has effectively gone on strike. Is this behavior acceptable? 60% say yes. The one question I want to ask you all before we move on to the next subject tonight is, do you think he's going to get his wish and get away from Tottenham Ram? Yes or no?
No, I think Daniel Levy will play hardball. I think he'll get the better end of the stick, not Kane.
How about yourself? Have hope?
Hell no. Hell no. I mean, no, but then it's very simple. There is a price, and I just feel that City will not meet that price. So let's just say it's 170. He's not going to budge from that 170 price, not one kobo less. So if City don't meet the price, no. And I don't believe that City will meet the valuation. So Kane is probably going to be stuck for Tottenham for life. And the issue is now, once he's now in there, that now does a disservice to Sanso, who is trying to build a team that has strong cohesion and so forth. The worst thing you want to do, especially as a new manager, is having to now work with a striker who has openly said, I don't believe in you. I don't believe in the teammates. I don't want to get out of here. It's unfair on Sanso.
But then you could say that Luis Suarez had the same incident with Liverpool where he wants to leave. And then when he was told, stay for one season and then you'll get your move, he had his best ever season for Liverpool. It could work both ways. You never know.
Are we comparing Suarez to Kane? Come on.
No, but we're comparing about the mindset. So it works both ways.
I don't know about. I really don't know what you lot are going on about, to be honest with you. I think it's just quite clear, to be honest with you. Easy. The fact is, I mean, yes, he will leave. I think next season, definitely. But unfortunately, I think what they've done is Tottenham, they decided to keep him for this summer. Don't know why. Don't know why they want to do that, because it was quite clear they need to let him go. Because we need to rebuild.
How do you know they've kept him? There's 4 weeks just under 4 weeks of the window.
Well,
how do you know
they can't let him go at the end of the transfer window, because then it becomes like a Berbatov situation. And if he does at the end of this,
what if they bid 170?
Jeopardy.
What if they give him a bid of 170? So you think Levy will? So if they meet Levy's valuation, Levy will just reject it. So if
have you seen
they give him 170,
of buying players with loads of money? Have you seen?
I'm asking you a question. If Levy 170 on the ground, you're saying that Levy will reject it?
But have hope. Listen to me, because you asked me a philosophical question.
It's a yes or no question.
Yeah,
yes or no.
If it's 170, yes or no question here. What I'm saying to you is, I'm coming back to you on that question, saying, what's Tottenham's record of buying players with loads of money?
That's irrelevant. That's not the question. I'll ask the question again. It's a yes or no. If City.
No, that's what I'm saying to you, because it's not good enough. Because at the moment, look at the proof back behind. No, have hope. You're not listening to me now. What I'm trying to say to you is,
Alex, I need to interject for a second here. This is one thing I say about the window. Everyone can make predictions and get them right and get them wrong, which is normal. We saw one of the most credible transfer journalists in the world tell us that Inter Milan told him directly, Lukaku isn't for sale for love nor money. The right offer's now been, the first offer that was put in by Chelsea yesterday was a teaser, but they knew that Chelsea were going to come back with a bigger offer after that. That's pretty well documented. Suddenly, Inter have changed their minds. My view is I just think if the right money's bid, they'll let him go. There's just something about this deal where I just think Spurs are not that stupid. They're just not. You're not making the top 4 this season or next season. You're not good enough, and the teams in front.
Agreed that.
Yeah. So the point is, Levy isn't going to let him go for peanuts, but at the same time, Levy isn't stupid. He's going to look at the situation and think, I think 130 would be enough to get him when the money's actually in front of you and you can smell it. Everyone's got a different view, but let's just say, it's for argument's sake, it's 130, just for the sake of debate. You're not getting that next year for Kane, even if he scores 70 goals in the calendar year. And the year after that, you're not getting that, even if he scores 100 goals in the calendar year, because he's older and his contract is running down. This is the time to strike while the iron is hot. Spurs should do what Aston Villa have done so far. Villa has signed Danny Ings, absolutely from the colour of darkness. They brought in Leon Bailey, who is a very talented player, and Buendia, that I can't believe he went a whole season without anybody picking him up and he's left themselves open. Plus, they still have about 80 to 100 million pounds to spend. Villa have now made their squad better than before Jack Grealish, than when Jack Grealish was there, because there isn't one individual that's better than Jack Grealish or as good as him, but the overall quality is there. With the Harry Kane money, you could buy another centre-back to partner Romero. You could sort the atrocious right-back situation out, get another proper creative central midfielder to replace Christian Eriksen that hasn't been done. And there are other goal scorers out there, i.e. you've just seen him go. You know, Martinez has been available all summer. Like Martinez, you could have bought Martinez 3 weeks ago, right? Sold Harry Kane, bought Martinez, and stopped one of your biggest rivals in Chelsea from picking up Lukaku, or reportedly picking up Lukaku. We're going to get on that a bit later. For me, I understand you saying they won't. And it's a fairly safe prediction to say they won't, because we're talking about a City breaking the British transfer record 2 times in one. So it's like Real Madrid back in 2009. It's a safe bet, Alex. But I'm be honest with you, and this isn't you. I'm sick and tired of hearing football fans say, nah, can't see that deal, definitely won't happen, impossible. Every single summer, there's multiple transfers that prove that the impossible is doable. There's been 2 so far this year with Iran, and it's like they do my nutting.
No, seriously, Terry, like, I think it was yesterday or so forth on Twitter. Guys are like, Jack Grealish, man, he now shows the true loyalty. He would never leave Villa. He's just about to sign a new contract with Villa and so forth. 24 hours later, City are about to close the deal. Like, no one knows anything. And the fact about it is, Alex, is that first of all, there can be life after Kane. Just like there was life after Modric and life after Bale. Kane was in 3 finals. What did he do? He flopped. He put forth a disaster class. He put forth a disaster class in the Champions League final. No. I didn't start it. He puts forth a disaster class in the Champions League final. So for the 3 finals you've had him in, what has he done?
You're going into the past now. You're going into the past. Look into the future now. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying from what we're seeing at the moment, you're talking a little bit of sense in terms of you need to sell Kane, but I'm looking at it from the whole summer. Okay, they decided to keep Kane at the beginning of the summer. You can see it because look at the mess of the whole trying to get the managers in, looking at trying to get Conte in, Pochettino, all these other managers.
So they will keep him regardless of whatever offer. So that's
what I'm trying to say.
So if they offer 200 million, they'll still keep it.
For me, it's a bit late to let him go now.
If they offer, but I'm asking you this, bro. If they were to offer 200 million, because they've made a decision at the beginning of the summer, even if it's 200 million, they'll still keep it for 200 million. If City offered 200,
because you've got no replacement, haven't you, for him? Alex, you've got not replacement, but you haven't got it. You haven't got
it's 200 mil, man.
Terry, can I quickly ask you a question?
Final point on Harry Kane from RANT, please.
I just going to ask you a question. When did Real Madrid sign Gareth Bale? I swear it was very, very late in the window.
Yeah, but we had people in place, didn't we? We got.
Why can't you do this?
Even
Why
though the
can't you
players
do the same
were
with Harry Kane?
weren't right for the club.
Why can't you do the same
We
with
had
Harry
other
Kane?
players in place, didn't we? To replace
So
him.
you can exactly do the same thing for Harry Kane.
It's a great question. Look, we're going to move on to the Arsenal situation now, but I will say this about Hope's point about Jack Grealish. There were a lot of Villa fans. He's going to do this. That's because people don't seek multiple sources. People don't like listening to transfer experts that don't say the things they want to hear. You listen to every single time Jack Grealish came up, for instance, on Dean Jones shows, he was talking about Villa behind the scenes, every show for 6 weeks. Villa will accept a bid if it meets or breaks the British transfer record. It's what he said on every single show. People say, oh, what did he get right? He told you that. Now, specifics and fine details, it's halfway guesswork when it comes to that. No one's given that information. It was always there. But Villa fans might not know who Dean Jones is, but they don't want to seek it. What I see trend from Villa fans on Grealish all summer was any story where he was staying. Any story where he was leaving, it was rejected as bullshit. And this is what always happens. Man City would not be continuing to pursue Kane if they knew it was impossible. They're not stupid. The reason that Chelsea kept their sort of the stoking the fire with Lukaku when everybody on socials was saying, no, he ain't moving, he's happy, was because they knew he would come. These clubs are not dumb and they're not stupid, in my view and opinion. Viewers, though, smash that like and that share button. Get your super chats in as well. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. There is a link in our description below.
I need to just jump off, guys. Man, I'll see you soon, man, guys. Peace out, guys.
There is a link in our description below now, ladies and gentlemen, for notifications for the Football Terrace as and when we go live and launch new videos, new bits of content. Remember, the Done Deal show is out first thing tomorrow morning. Big updates on all the major transfer stories that are going on at the moment. But we shared that link in the comment section right this second. It's just gone in there. You'll see it now. It's our Telegram account. You can sign up to that and you'll never miss another notification again from the Football Terrace. It'd be good to get a lot more of you in there. There's no spamming. There's no marketing. It's purely live videos when they go out. Now, Arsenal, gentlemen. Arsenal Football Club have made very good inroads in their pursuits of James Maddison and Lautaro Martinez. Martinez is open to a move to the Prem. He's interested in the move to Arsenal. He's been encouraged by first of all, the preliminary talks, and then the more in-depth or the advanced talks, whichever kind of descriptive people want to give those words. I've had a lot of people message me saying, I don't think that's what you should describe advanced as. Personally, with respect, I don't care what other people see it as. When you start getting down to the finer details of conversations and a player says, yes, I'll join, go and work out a deal with my football club, that for me makes a situation advanced. They've got to that position now with both James Maddison and Martinez, but these deals are still a fair way away from being completed because Arsenal have not put the right bids in. They've offered cash and players, but both Inter Milan and Leicester City have said they want cash only. Interestingly, James Wheatley tweeted about this when we were live at around about 4 or 5 o'clock. Peter O'Rourke obviously tweeted about it first thing in the morning. He spoke about it on the Done Deal show, which is out tomorrow morning. But I want to go to you both first of all on this. I'm going to speak to Ram first of all on this one. Can you see Arsenal signing either of them, none of them, both of them? Where's your mind at?
It's one or the other. I can't see them buying both. If I was going to put a bet on someone who they're going to sign, it would be James Maddison. I think, especially with what's happening with Lukaku, I can't see Inter Milan getting rid of both Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. So I think Maddison would be the better option. I think they're already stacked in that forward position. I think they need more depth in the midfield. They need some proper quality. And James Maddison, everyone knows how good the guy is. And he'll be a great addition for Arsenal. And I think he's a priority signing compared to Lautaro Martinez.
How about yourself, Alex? Do you? I know, obviously, like Arsenal, your big rivals, etc. Do you see them pulling either of those deals off this summer?
If I'm really honest, I don't think they're going to get anything. To be honest, no big deals. I'm just watching. I haven't really taken too much interest in Arsenal, to be honest with you, because I'm more focused on Tottenham. But it just from the feeling I'm getting, and also my brother, who's an Arsenal fan, it just seems to me that it's just not going to work. and they're not gonna get the signings that they proposed to get for me. And I just think it's just going to be a disappointing season for them. And I'm not trying to troll or anything like that. It's just that's just my feeling at the moment. That is just my feeling.
And look, you're entitled to that. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of Arsenal fans that I've been listening to in Spaces tonight. Very unhappy with Arsenal's approach this summer. And I actually think their approach has been right so far, but they are now at crunch time. And it's about putting their money where their mouth is. I think Matt Law may have said it. I think Fabrizio has said it. And a number of people have now reported that Inter Milan will not sell both. Inter Milan also said they wouldn't sell Lukaku. So I think what I love about it is when you ask about it now, they go, no, Fabrizio said this, so it isn't happening. It's sort of like Fabrizio is amazing, but think for yourselves for like 1 minute, just 1 minute. Think for yourselves. Have the financial issues been resolved with £100 million coming in from Chelsea? Of course, that's potential for that to happen. But I still think Arsenal should test the water with a bid. And where I would be frustrated as an Arsenal fan this summer, legitimately where I'd be frustrated as an Arsenal fan this year, is if you get to the end of the window and you don't make these cash offers for these players. Now, I understand that Arsenal fans are frustrated because they've got to buy before they've got to sell before they buy. I think it's fairly normal at this point. They spent, 75-80 million pound-ish, depending on the reports you read so far this summer. Maddison 70, and it's 65 million pounds for Martinez. That's a lot of money. That's 130 million pounds, which would take their spending, if they were to land them both, past 200 million pounds, which is the higher end. Now, they were predicted to spend between 100 and 150 million pounds. By the way, they're still pushing hard for Ramsdale. Big update coming tomorrow on Ramsdale as well on the Football Terrace in the morning. They're still pushing for that deal. The third bid is being put together right now by Arsenal Football Club. That's another 30 million. So they're going to go to near 100, 105 on those players. So they have to sell before they buy those two. I would just like to see the Cronkies and Arsenal Football Club front the money, buy, and then sell afterwards. And I know it's sometimes harder to do that. You might lose a little bit of valuation potentially. Or maybe suck it up for a year and just send those players out on loan, and maybe Willock and a few of the others can have really good seasons again. But I would just be disappointed as a Gooner. And speaking of Gooners, the lovely Jess joins us now. I would just be very, very frustrated if they didn't make the bids at least. If they just didn't put them in to see what could happen. I think really annoying.
I think any Arsenal fan would agree with you, Terry. Like, it's like chatting up to a girl and you do all the hard work and then at the end of the night, you don't get her number. It's like, what's the point of doing all that work to speak to Martinez and entice him to come to Arsenal, and then you don't put the money forward? It's like you just wasted the entire transfer window doing all that for nothing when you could have got someone else. So I think any Arsenal fan would agree with you, honestly.
I hear you on that. We've got Jess here. Obviously, we're doing transfer predictions tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you. How did your stream go?
It's fine. It was just me talking to the screen.
That's all right. That's all streaming is. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on. We're talking Maddison, we're talking Martinez. There's been a number of reports from the likes of Fabrizio that Inter are not going to sell both. The Lukaku deal looks done and dusted. Where's your head at with both these deals? Do you find them doable? Do you think they've both also been now told that they're both cash only? It's no players can be included in the swaps. Do you see Arsenal sanctioning either or both of these deals?
Maddison, yes. Martinez, no. With Maddison, you're replacing Odegaard, so there's nobody in the way. I do believe that there's money available, so I don't think it's necessarily about selling to buy when it comes to Maddison. So I do think we'll front the money, but then if we're looking to add players into that deal, then that would lead me to believe that you're taking away money to do other things. So that may leave less money to give to Inter if we were to try to get Martinez. So it feels like we have some money, but we need to make some concessions as well. So I would say for Maddison, because it's a must-need position, yes. But when it comes to Martinez, because Nketiah is still here, Lacazette as well, and Lukaku, there's just too many hurdles to really cross over. So I would think, no, no, it's not going to happen. And I said that from the beginning, didn't I?
You did. I mean, are you not disappointed though, in the sense of if you dropped if a week ago you dropped £65 million, Martinez is your player now, and you could have stopped Chelsea from buying their striker. I mean, that should be how you want Arsenal to operate, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but that's just not how we do things. And then we have too much of a bloated squad. And I just think in certain positions, we're in a position where until people leave, we can't even start to do anything. And I do think that maybe the club was trying to line up an opportunity, but I just can't see them doing that without, like, with Chelsea, they already got rid of Giroud. So they could just, I mean, who do they have left? Tammy? Like, they're able to maneuver things around because I don't think they're overly bloated the way we are. A lot of their players out there on loan, like they have assets to sell. We just have too many players, So I would love for them to just go in and put the bid in, but at the same time, like, so it gets accepted, then what? Then you have Martinez, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Nketiah, Martinelli, and Balogun all there at the same time. It just seems a little bit unrealistic to me. You know what I mean?
And I do understand that, and that would be where my frustration would come in as a Gooner, that you needed this quality. You've clearly done the work. I don't even think it's about not being willing to spend the money on these players. It's struggling to get rid of that dead wood. And I would be annoyed, but I wouldn't be deterred. There are two different things there. You can be frustrated, but still encouraged. It's going to take time. It took Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the system that he has helped to build years to clear out the crap that was at our club. And we still can't get anyone to take what's his name? Jones as an example. It's very, very hard. And then you get the other situation where Lingard goes and does really well. Now he doesn't want to leave now because he's like, well, because no Champions League clubs came in for him. And he's like, well, I'm a Champions League player again now. If he'd have gone to West Ham and scored 3 or 4 goals, I think it would have worked better. The assumption, or if they would have made the Champions League, I think he would have gone there on a permanent basis. And then it's, no one's come in for him yet. And it just takes time. And I think that for a club to fix its bad operations, it's a 2 to 3 year process. And what you've got to hope and look out for, though, I know a lot of people are accusing it of being PR transfers, and we spoke to Peter O'Rourke about this earlier, and Pete's very well informed, and Arsenal are working hard to get these deals done. They're not just pussyfooting about, but it's going to take time to build up that confidence again, and that credibility in the market. Yes, mate.
I was gonna ask a question to Jess. What's your English quota looking like for the Premier League season? Because if you get Martinez and you're over the quota of like foreign players, then wouldn't it be like a redundant signing?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. We're always kind of right there on the edge. We're always right there on the edge. So I think that's another reason why you see we're going after, the Ben Whites and the Maddisons to try to, solidify that quota as well. And then that's probably why you see we're kind of holding on to Nketiah a little bit longer than we want to, holding on to Willock a little bit longer. So it's really that thing where we are bloated, and the players that we want to go are also players that hit our quota, because they're also Nketiah, Willock, and Reece Nelson are all 21 years old as well and older. And then the players that we love are younger, so we're in a very weird situation. Bloated squad, all the players that you want to leave are actually the players that you need to keep for homegrown quota. The players that you want to bring in that are English are quite expensive. So but we're always right there on the edge. I wouldn't be surprised if we were, worried about that as well. That's probably why we're looking at Ramsdale too,
Yeah, it definitely clicks into that. I mean, and I will say this to Arsenal fans as well. I think you've so far done some really good business. I don't even think Ramsdale was as bad as goalkeeper as people are making him out to be. It's, I think Ramsdale's going to be a good signing. I think Ben White's going to be a brilliant signing. I think Lukonga's going to be a star player. And that's just sitting down and listening to the the Belgium experts we've had on the show, the Sashas and the Christophe Terreurs talk about him and how good an individual he is. A lot of the Belgian public were frustrated that he didn't go to the Euros, and Arsenal have landed him. And it's some good work. I get the marquee signings need to come in, but we'll see. We've got some breaking news, and then we've got some super chats. Thomas Tuchel has spoke about Lukaku. He was questioned about the deal, and he says Lukaku is a fantastic player, but not in my squad. Then on Lukaku accepting Chelsea's proposal, I don't quite know how that was worded. That's how Fabrizio said it. Tuchel said, everyone wants to join my squad. I can imagine a lot of players want to come and join Chelsea. So interesting word from him, of course, having to play that down. But there we go. Neil O'Callaghan here says, why are City signing Grealish and they need a striker more? 100 million is setting a dangerous precedent that all English players are extremely overvalued. Kane won't leave now. He will cost much more. I know we spoke about it earlier, Jess, so I won't throw that one to you. Ram, I've got to Alex. Do you think Grealish is overvalued at £100 million?
No, because he's the going price for a team that needs. It's a going price for a player that is going for the value of what the team that's buying him value him at. So no, he isn't. He's you go for you put the price on the player to because that's what the price that they value at, and it's for the buying team to just buy him, and that's it. So no, he's not overvalued. No, and I don't think Grealish is going to think like that either, to be honest with you. So
I hear you on that. How about yourself, Ram? I mean, do you think it's overvalued at 100 million?
In this present day market, no. Quite a lot of players are overvalued in itself compared to the last 10 or 20 years. I think what Man City need, I think they need someone like a Jack Grealish. I see them getting rid of some of their attacking players, maybe someone like a Bernardo Silva. But that's the nature of this market. This market is very, very overpriced. You saw Coutinho going for about 140 million pounds, and he was definitely not worth 140 million pounds. So it's just the nature of this market. Everything is so overpriced. Like I saw you did a thread on the market value of Jack Grealish and why and how his transfer has come about because of this inflated market.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I say inflate, I mean, obviously inflated similar. It's just there's more money in football now. What I find interesting, and Neil, I respect the super chat so much, my friend. I really, really do. When those fullbacks a few years ago were being sold for £50 million, we said it was a dangerous precedent. When Maguires and VVDs were being spent 70 odd millions, it was setting a dangerous precedent. I remember spending £27 million on an 18-year-old Wayne Rooney was setting a dangerous precedent. My father tells me that when Mr. Francis was signed for £1 million by Nottingham Forest, it was setting a dangerous precedent. Every time a new watershed moment in transfers occurs, the same headlines come out. The journalists just rinse, wash, repeat an article about football's dying, the money's out of this outrageous now, blah, 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 blah. And fans go mad about it. And then at the same time, we celebrate the ownership of these clubs of billionaires and states and oligarchs. You can't have billionaires, states, and oligarchs own football clubs and then not expect over the course of time transfer fees to become exorbitant amounts of money when they're being allowed to pump their money into it. When one of two things happens next, the streaming companies, the Amazons, the Disneys, whoever buy the TV rights, or the Premier League wires up and start their own streaming device. They cut out Sky and they cut out all the middlemen and women and they go straight to doing it themselves, and they charge you $6.99 a month. Because you'll probably find, actually, with what you pay Sky and BT, how much of that actually, let's just say they get about $2.99 per subscription out of it. They'll do their own and charge $6.99 or whatever they'll do. All they have to do is earn an extra £1, £2 per subscription, and that's billions of pounds even more. They'll sell their. Honest to God, it will just be. They'll make even more money. But what you'll then see, if that happens in 5 years' time, in 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised to see 200 million signings happening on a more regular basis. It's just the nature of the beast, I think, and I don't think he's overvalued by modern day standards. I mean, it just depends, really. Like most players are in and around that valuation. James Maddison's at 70 million pounds, and as an example, and James Maddison isn't as good. But look, we'll see there. Got another super chat from Neil that came through, actually. Thank you very much. It says, Kane being unprofessional is not a great look for him, and it sets a poor example to young players who look at him as a role model. Look, I understand that train of thought also. I do understand why people think and feel that about the way he should or shouldn't behave in that regard. I do get that, and I do understand that massively. Neil, again, thank you very, very much. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, every green super chat, so essentially £5, $5 that you put in and above, your name will go into the prize draw in August to win a football shirt of your choice. Mark Neighbor, I got your DM yesterday, so I will reach out and get you that shirt ordered and delivered. Maria Williams, only today, let me know what shirt, etc. I think the away Tottenham shirt she asked for, so that's going to be ordered and done. But every time you put in a super chat, your name will go into that prize draw. We're going to give away 2 prizes this month, as mentioned. And if you put in 10, or 15 in that case, that Neil O'Callaghan has done, your name will go into that hat 3 times, just as a thank you and some payback to our brilliant viewers, our super chatters, and of course, anyone who signs up brand new to membership this month as well.
Terry, I
yes.
just want to say this, though, about Grealish. A lot of Tottenham fans are really, really regretting that they're not liking Leave with what he did. That deal for Grealish just a few years ago, when we were dithering on getting him for how much, and now look at it now. Look how much we've lost out of him. Not getting him that time. You know, when we didn't. It's so bad, doesn't it?
Well, it does. But this is the every one of our clubs are listed with the skeletons of failed transfers that went on to do well. Look at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Zlatan, Yaya, Cristiano, like some names that we know have gone on. You look back and think, how and why did they miss out on those players? We're going to take some calls now. First up, Fred is with us here. Fred, welcome to the terrace. You are clearly a gooner. What do you want to say?
Can you hear me?
Not really. Very, very quiet.
Is that better?
Not really. What, are you using earphones or earbuds?
No.
There we go.
How's that?
Bang on. There we go, Frederico. Tell me what you got to say.
Well, with the Lukaku and Martinez stuff, I think Arsenal could be in trouble with it. But with what you've said previously, with how they only want to get rid of one, I think that was more of a case had it been Lautaro leaving before Lukaku. I think Lukaku going before Lautaro still gives some sort of potential deal for Arsenal to counter on. I don't know if that could be down to the fact that he's only got 2 years left and he's not renewing his contract. But I just feel that there is still some sort of potential, even if Lukaku does end up signing.
Yeah, look, I still think there's always potential. There's always potential. Money speaks to you. I mean this wholeheartedly. Barring the Liverpool captain leaving for Man United, as an example, or anything along those lines, every single football player on God's green earth is purchasable. If you bid the right amount of money, you could turn around now and who would we say is unattainable right now? Who's off the market because of who they are? Name me a player.
Robertson. I don't know.
Robertson at Liverpool. If someone walks in now with £200 million, Robertson's gone. Now, unless he has to agree, and then he says, no, I'm not moving, and someone says, we'll pay 700 grand a week, Robertson's gone. Now, giving a very extreme example, but for the right money, like, I love the football terrace. If someone pays me enough money, I'll stop coming on. Like, I'm buyable, like, to a certain degree. Like, everyone's buyable, and everything's doable because, yes, they've had their financial issues, but they're also going to look at it and think, could we have him in a year? No one quite knows the ins and outs of that, but it'll be an interesting one indeed. Fred, thanks for that call, mate. Top man indeed. Thank you. Next on the show, Repent. I think I said Repent is here. Welcome to the terrace. You do support. Oh, disappeared. So we're going to go to Young Samuel. Young Samuel's coming on 2 times in one day. It's late for you, Young. You got school? No, school's out, isn't it? Summer holidays. Samuel, what you saying, mate? Have you logged in my back room and then gone off to do something else? Atrocious. So we're going to go to Mr. Khan now. Mr. Khan's now on the terrace. What you saying, buddy?
Hey, Gary, this is my very first time on the show, and I'm from Pakistan.
My friend, I cannot hear you. I'm really sorry. What are you using as a microphone?
You can hear me now?
No. Not clearly.
Just give me a minute, I'll come back.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try and get you back on in a minute. Someone here says, I'm intrigued now. What's your price? Honestly, to stop, give up the terrace, to not host or to not own it. Because I wouldn't give up my ownership and my deal on the terrace for less than £1 million minimum right now. To still earn my money but not host a show. I do that for free, actually. Like if someone could host these shows 3 times a day for me, but I still earn what I earn out of it, I do it for free, bruv. You know what I mean? Sit at home and chill. Just travel the world, you know what I mean? I fly to Australia for a few weeks, LA for a few weeks, do my thing. That's what I would do. Where else would I go? Dubai for a little while, Cardiff. Like I go to all the best places, you know what I'm saying? Like I do my thing. Samuel's here now. What you saying, brother?
Bro, it's good. Nah, what I think about the deal, because I spoke about the Grealish one earlier, it's now about Martinez. Listen, I don't think it's going to happen. I see no chance of a deal happening from now on. It's also penny pinching again. They're looking and saying, you know what? Maybe if we do this, we can get a lower price for the player, possibly get him at a bargaining price. And you know what? We lost a good player because if you look at Lacazette, you look at Aubameyang. I'm sorry, but Aubameyang has gone beyond a bad patch now because I think Aubameyang is on a rapid decline as a footballer and as a player for Arsenal Football Club. I think he's not good enough anymore to get listen. What we expect from Aubameyang every season is at least 20 goals. I can see him reaching 10 this season, 10 or 12, between 10 and 15 goals a season. Even Lacazette hasn't even reached beyond 15 goals in the Premier League since he's been here. So I think last season he scored 12 goals and the amount of chances he missed throughout the season. So we heard news articles from Chris Wheatley, who I believe is a PR merchant for the club. He came out and said there's going to be a massive squad overhaul this summer. Well, let's see. Willian is still at the club. El Neni is still at the club. Lacazette is still at the club. Granit Xhaka is still at the club. Hector Bellerin is still at the club. Rob Holding is still at the club. I mean, what rebuild is this? I tell you, this is a joke of a rebuild. What we're doing here at Arsenal,
You got rid of David Luiz.
I have to. I'm sorry, Samuel. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We were never about to get rid of all those players in one window.
No.
It was just.
Well,
I don't think when they said,
Oh,
come on,
sorry. Breaking news. Here we go. Jack Grealish.
Oh.
Jack Grealish is a Manchester City player. That is done. That is dusted. That is announced right now, ladies and gentlemen. We thought it was going to come tomorrow. Well, the official club announcement is still due to come tomorrow, but it has been announced. Jack Grealish is now a Manchester City player. I mean, we had to hit. I mean, I announced it earlier. To be fair, just saying, I got it in like 6-7 hours ago, mate. But you know what I mean? Like, we can't all be as quick as Don Terry, do you know what I'm saying, Frabs? Do you know what I mean? Sort yourself out, delicious. But that's it. He signs for Manchester City. That is done, dusted, and it is over the line. Jess, I'm going to go back to you. What you were saying, sorry.
No, I just thought it's just unrealistic for us to think we're going to get everything done. What I will say is that the biggest issue was us not accepting the deal from AS Roma last summer for Lacazette. That's our biggest issue is we never know when to sell and we hold on too long. And people are like, well, Lacazette did good this season. I'd prefer Lacazette to have not have been here this season. Somebody would have stepped up and scored those goals. And then we would have an opportunity to bring in Lautaro Martinez now if Lacazette was at AS Roma last summer. So for me, we're looking at Joe Willock. Apparently Newcastle is ready to give us the 22 million. Just sell. You know, Wolves wanted Maitland-Niles last summer for 15 to 20 million. Just sell, because if you don't have space in your squad, you can't take advantage of opportunities. Lautaro Martinez is an opportunity that if we were prepared, we could have done the deal. But I think it's more about players still being here that shouldn't be here. And when you get the bids, which for a lot of these players, we haven't gotten them, when we do get them, we have to take advantage. So when we look at the Williams and all that, I get that we want them to go, but who's buying them? It's up to their agent to find them places to go, not us. So it's up to their agent to find them a new place to go. We can't force people to buy our players. And if we hate them as much as I'm sure we all don't like them, do you really think other people are going to be chomping at the bit to get them? I'm not sure, so I was never like, we're going to have this full rebuild. For me, it was a midfielder, right-sided center back, and maybe a creative midfielder. We still could probably get that done. And that's as realistic as I think we could get,
I think Jess touches on a point. Like when you're trying to sell a player, you don't want to seem desperate to sell them because you're going to be selling them way underneath their valuation price. And at the end of the day, it won't be helpful for your club because you won't get enough money to fund for another new player. So it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky when it comes to sort of rebuilding this.
We're gonna have to take some L's. That's really what it is, right? We have to change our stature in the market. And I was saying this earlier, like we cannot be just tearing up contracts left and right and selling our players for Skittles and then expecting people to take us serious. They're just not going to. If that means keeping Xhaka for another season, like Roma was offering us 12. I know we'd all probably just kick him out the door for free, but Arsenal can't do that. He's worth at least 22 million. He starts for us, so I get that.
The players we mentioned, the players we tried to sell, only one of them got sold, and it was, technically, Matteo Guendouzi, he went out with a loan with the option to buy. I mean, it's 8 or 9 players. I know you mentioned that earlier, the agent's got to find them a club, but still, for a club of our stature, it's still poor to sell one player so far in this window. Deep into
Sam, with the players
guys, it is, but sorry, go on, Jess, finish up for me, go on.
No, all I was going to say is we say things that suit our narrative. Guendouzi was sold with an obligation to buy, and so was Mavropanos. That's guaranteed funds. I know that it sounds better for the narrative. We haven't sold anybody. We have, but our players are just not attractive at the moment. It's going to take a minute for that to change. So I don't know what we're expecting for Mavropanos and Guendouzi, players that, I mean, he didn't even he didn't even do anything at Hertha Berlin. So why do we expect anybody with 1 year left on his deal? Like, come on, you guys. We're not selling. This is not getting 30 million for Bukayo Saka if we sold him. This is Guendouzi. What do we expect? Like, that's just me, though.
I know we spoke about this earlier, Jess, and this is what happens. You can't change the processes and the runnings and get rid of all the dead wood and buy all the star players you want in a year or two. It's going to take time. And this is where football fans, I love and hate this excuse at the same time. When people say, I'm not lowering my expectations. I don't want you to lower your expectations, but it's educate yourself on how long things take. I don't know what people have done for a living, but educate yourself on how long it can take to change a culture or an organization, how long it can change once you've damaged your reputation in a transfer market, how long it takes you to rebuild that, 2, 3, 4 years. Look how many years it took City to get to the point they are at now. Look how long it took FSG to get to that point. Look how many years it took Sir Alex Ferguson to take Manchester United from being a joke of a club. It was a 27-year Baron run, drinking culture. The youth academy was in bits to get it to where he got it. It took years and years of work. And I'm not suggesting that everything Arsenal do is right. They're going to make mistakes along the way. But I don't think we live in a world of instant gratification now. We live in a world where everybody wants it done right here, right now. And nothing that's great, nothing that's great and nothing that's brilliant is built overnight. It takes so much time and effort and work. everyone has these things, iPhones. You know how long it took for Apple to actually get itself off the ground and actually work and become productive? And they've just grown from strength to strength because they didn't stand still. But once you lose yourselves, what the fuck are Nokia now? Nokia, one of the best mobile phone companies in the world. They stood still. They messed up what they were doing, their processes, their target market, and they're now in the doldrums. If they try to come out of it, it will take years and years and years to get themselves back. I'm giving those examples of you can be big 1 minute and crap the next. When you try to rejuvenate, it takes time. That's what I need people to do. But Jack Grealish, sorry, we're ending that bit there. Jack Grealish is a Manchester City player. Says Terry, you are the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am transfer news.
Do not blow up. His head is already big enough as it is.
Right.
Don't massage his ego, please.
I'll talk about all the things I get right and I'll ignore the things I get wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like, I am
Oh my gosh, is that KJ down there?
I own this shit. I own the terrace, but I own this game now. And I'm actually saying this because for all of my detractors out there, a lot of my YouTubers themselves, I know what you're saying behind the scenes because some of the people you think are your friends know me. And they tell me what you say. Listen, just keep crying. Look at that. These are your tears.
Look at him.
Oh, look at him.
Ain't no one for the look for you. Ain't no one for the This is only just the beginning. And by the way, someone said to me earlier the other day, are you in the know? I'm not an in the know. You've literally met on screen all of my contacts. And on top of that, we've got a few lovely new guests joining the Football Terrace pretty soon. And you'll understand where our other connections come from there. YUFC says, Terry, I'm sorry. I'm on Levy's side. Kane is stupid if he thinks Spurs will lose him for cheap. If City pays, he can leave. It's that simple. I hear you on that. I mean, cheers, Terry. I don't want to hate Grealish. I don't. Grealish, bro. Why? I hear you on that. But Jack Grealish is now officially a Manchester City player. I forgot what team he's gone to play for. He's now officially a Manchester City player.
Some in the know you are.
£100 million deal done and dusted. I did actually speak to someone about the fee today. You won't see Jack Grealish mentioned on the Done Deal show yesterday because Pete O'Rourke, when we spoke this morning about 8 a.m., I asked him about the deal before we recorded, and he basically said, it's done. So there's no point mentioning it, but because by the time you release this tomorrow, it will be over the line. So that's why. So Pete O'Rourke deserves all the credit for me knowing that it was done this afternoon. Most people knew it was done this afternoon, by the way. Like, it wasn't fucking kept secret, but there we go. That's why you won't see it mentioned tomorrow. But what I did ask and find out is that it may be paid in installments. No one knows yet, but it's no add-ons. It's £100 million cast iron guarantee transfer.
Mad.
Cast iron guarantee transfer. What did you say? Never a truer word said than in jest. I run this game, Maria. I run this shit. I run the internet. No, I don't really. It is just a joke. Like, I don't really think and feel like that. I just said it for the detractors. KJ, where you been, KJ? Where you been?
Oh no,
I told you, man. I've been hyperbolic time chamber, bro. If you man watch DBZ, Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm talking about. Man's coming out Super Saiyan 4 and that. Come on now. I'm good, man. I've just been having my time away. I'm still gonna be on here causing havoc. Certain people messaging me like, where you at? Where you been? I'm like, listen, don't worry about me, innit? Like, man is doing my thing out here. But I'll be back fully soon. Don't worry about that, people. Hey, listen, I'm gutted, man. I am gutted. Why is this guy going to Man City? Man, I'm in pain, man. My favorite player outside of Man United just waltzing over to the scum. It makes me feel sick. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you on that. I do hear you on that. I run this. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
That's
training day.
Right. Yeah, there we go. I recognize it. Yeah. Do you know what I want to get to? I want to become so successful, though, right? I want to become so successful. I heard this joke that Dave Chappelle said the other day about Kevin Hart about like the Drake lyrics, and I'm not going to sing the song about I've got everything. Have you heard that joke? It's an amazing joke. It's like I can't say it on there because I'll get cancelled, but it's absolutely brilliant. And Dave Chappelle basically says that he hasn't got enough money to tell his missus to shut the fuck up. And I'm like, that's true. Most people don't. YUFC here says, imagine Grealish playing in front of no fans. How is that even the slightest appealing? But Villa, even without Grealish, will finish above Arsenal. Ha, ha, ha. Interested. Listen, young Samuel, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you. David's joining us now to have his say also. But yes, Jack Grealish, £100 million. British record fee. David, give me your thoughts, mate.
He's not worth 100 mil. You're going to hear me say this a lot. This Jack Grealish is not. Well, he might be worth 100 mil, but he's not worth 100 mil to City because he's not going to play every single Premier League game because Pep's, he rotates everyone. And with all the attacking talent they already have, I don't really see him being that 100 mil improvement. So,
but David, if it gives them the CL, surely it'll be worth the money.
Yo,
surely.
if he does give them the CL, it depends though, because like he would have to contribute a lot to that. Because the thing with City is that they all, because of the way that Pep plays their football, they all contribute so much. So he's gonna have to perform above and beyond for it to be 100 mil on top of what they've already got.
No, I don't think he has to perform above and beyond. He just has to play to the level that he can play at. Like we know what Jack Grealish can do. The only thing is he's been playing for a Villa team who struggled in the Championship for a bit. You know what I mean? They got their back on their feet, got player final, then end up getting into player final again, winning that, coming into the Premier League, and they've done well for the first season. But you could see that he needed help. Like you could see that Villa team needed more than Jack Grealish, and the quality that he brings. So him going to a Man City team, he doesn't need to now to start to like perform at levels that he's never reached before. He just needs to do what he's been doing, and with the players around him at Manchester City, he will be hitting some good numbers. I guarantee you, man will get 10 goals and 15 assists, not in all comps.
I also worry,
David. I want to come back into a point you said because it'll get lost. It'll get lost in this whole not worth it to this one team. I've been thinking about this. Reminds me of this weird thing that now exists in humanity of my truth and your truth and his truth and their truth and maybe this truth and that truth. There's only one truth and there's only one valuation. He cost 100 million. Let's ignore all that for a moment. Is he a good signing? How good is he going to be for Man? Like just ignore the money for a minute. How good a player is he going to be in a Man City team? Is he going to perform? Is he going to score goals? Is he going to add more creativity? Did he guarantee them the league this year with what they've already got? Did he get nearer to the Champions League? On a football sense, ignore the money for a minute. How is he going to impact them from a football point of view?
Brilliant. I think he's going to be very, very good for them. I think my main issue with this, and it's only a very small issue, and I don't think it'll really affect him, is whether he'll be able to play with the plethora of brilliant players that are around him. Because at Aston Villa, he's mainly the guy to go to, and this is a new situation for him. He's going to be playing with the likes of Phil Foden, Rodri, Ruben Diaz, Kyle Walker, and Edison. And at Aston Villa, he's never really had that plethora of players around him. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think he'll do incredibly well because he did incredibly well for England when he did start a couple of games.
Alex,
go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this. I think he'll be successful, but I think at the beginning he will struggle because I think he'll be like Stones. I think he'll come to Manchester City, and I think because Pep Guardiola is very, very he's very, very determined with his players. He's very pushy with his players and stuff, and I think he will struggle at the beginning and trying to get used to that sort of mentality and stuff. And I think it's going to take him a bit of time to get used to it, but I think he'll grow from that, I would say, like Stones did, I would say. And I think that's what's going to happen with him, definitely.
Yeah. David, go on, mate. You were going to say something?
I think he's going to struggle like really badly because at Villa, he's the guy. Like every time the ball's played, it goes to him. When he's got to play in that Pep system where he's not the main guy and he will get the ball maybe 7-8 times a game, what is he going to do with that ball? Because if he gets fouled for five of those 8 times, then like that's already half more than half his game already gone, and he's got 3 more chances to try and do something extravagant.
But then you've got to look at what he does when he's on the ball anyway. It's not like he fails to do things a lot and then it takes like 10 times for him to get one good thing off. Like he can do things with limited amount of space and time. So I'm not worried about. Well, I am worried about Jack Grealish at Man City because he will be good. Like he just will be. He's already got the innate quality. Like, will it take some time to adapt to the new system? Yes, but imagine a Jack Grealish that doesn't need to always be on the ball, that doesn't need to always be running around and doing everything for the team. More energy. So when he does get in the ball, he's more of a threat. Like hacking him down is not going to be enough anymore because he will just lay off to a new player who's better than the Villa players. So it's going to be a new proposition altogether.
Yeah, I was looking at some footage of him a couple of days ago on Y Scout, just looking at some bits and pieces. The amount of time when he's in a Villa shirt, he doubled up all the. Now, if you double up against him when City are against him, look who you're leaving unmarked: Sterling, Foden, KDB. So they may decide. I doubt it, but teams might decide to nullify him and take him out of the game, stick 2 or 3 men on him. But it still means City are going to beat you because others that are class are going to find space. I just think he gives them it's another gun to their arsenal. And I do get your point that him not being the main man, he might touch the ball a little bit less, but then he's then receiving and passing the ball to much better football players. Like the amount of times he'll cross that ball into the box, and if they've got Harry Kane in there as well, like it goes up a level even then. So I think he's got a chance of doing very, very well. My only worry is how he adapts, not being the star. It's how he adapts to being in a very regimented system.
Guardiola.
It's greater freedom. Yeah, that's always a concern.
Well, I tell you what,
He's going to be Mahrez.
I tell you what, yeah. He's in the best hands possible because Pep Guardiola loves a player like him, the caliber player he is, the guy that has no fear, takes on a couple of man, lays it off to other people, very, very, very technically good on the ball. And Pep Guardiola is known to nurture these kind of players, like an Iniesta or a Xavi, or even you could say even Messi as well. So he's in safe hands with a very, very brilliant coach in Pep Guardiola. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You were going to say something there, Jess. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I think he's going to be like Mahrez. Like Mahrez struggled just a little bit to kind of balance his skill set, his creativity, the way he's more free-flowing at Leicester and fitting that into that more positional and structured system. And I think Jack will be similar to that. But I do think he's going to be good. I don't know what the impact is going to be, but there may be a plan to allow maybe somebody like a Jack Grealish to be a little bit more free. You never really know. Maybe like what we talked about earlier, that maybe they'll play 3 up top and they'll just be switching positions, and it may just be like the craziest thing you've ever seen. So I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I just think he's going to struggle a little bit because watching Mahrez, how he had to tweak his game, it took him a little bit. And then does that take away a little bit of him being special? You have to take that into consideration as well. But I do think he's going to be good. Just how much of an impact is he going to make? I'm not sure. That's just it.
I do hear you on that. I really do. Listen, everyone who's tuned into the Football Terrace tonight, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Grealish, done deal. Lots more to cut it. I knew it'd been an enthralling week this week. Jack Grealish, completely and utterly done. Well, I say that. Once we get the confirmation from the tier ones that it's done, I actually don't care about official announcements from the clubs anymore. They're boring. It's like it's old hat. Do you know, club announcements remind me like my dad now. My dad rings me up and goes, I've just read something in the paper. And he'll tell me about a story that we did a video on 2 days ago. And I'm like, Dad, I can't believe how long it takes for the printed press to put stories out now. It's crazy. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. If you're new to the Terrace right now, subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Go into our description below as well. Make sure you follow us across all our social media platforms and sign up to our brand new notification group chat on Telegram. That way you'll never miss another stream from the Football Terrace. We go live 2 or 3 times a day. Please go and get that done for us right now. But until next time, look after yourselves. We're back in the morning, first thing with the Done Deal Show. Lots of great updates in there for you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again